Taurus 24, a mounted Indian with scalp locks. We imagine this powerful man dressed in a certain way. His style of appearance is dressed to make an impression. Scalp locks, that's the equivalent of wearing a very expensive suit. And here is a person who has the capacity of great aggression. It's a leader, a commanding presence with the charisma of power and the ability to use that power in a channeled way, to take the aggression, a natural aggression of a wild native person, and to actually apply that in a civilized setting. So the focus is to channel our aggression, not to deny it, not to dismiss it, not to repress it at all, but actually to build it in a sense, as long as it's built in a way that we can actually apply it in a civilized setting. So the scalp locks, the expensive suit, this is to develop a very definite statement. I am powerful, I am capable, there's a certain amount of danger within me, you take me seriously, I can afford what it takes to dress this way, I'm something to be reckoned with. This statement is really clearly being made. What's the equivalent today? A high-priced lawyer, a businessman, a woman executive, somebody who's actually dressed to say, take me seriously. So that's a part of it. And the way we dress does influence the atmosphere that we create. Of course it does. And the atmosphere we create is like the scope of our willingness to engage with somebody. So if you actually put on a glamorous approach, and any glamour is a magician's tool of saying, this is my message, that's what glamour is for. So if we dress to kill, as it were, then we're making a real clear statement. Take me seriously. This is how I want you to treat me. And here the Indian with the scalp locks is saying, don't mess with me. I'm dangerous, you know. I've got the necessary clout to insist you treat me with respect. So we're talking about an energy here of the claiming of power. And the claiming of power is a very important spiritual concept. We do have, all of us have power, and we all have power over someone. That's what power is, really, the capacity to get someone else to do something the way you want it, like to stop behaving a way you don't like, or to start behaving the way you want them to behave. That's basically what it's about. And we all have some of that, whether you've got a pet dog that you apply your power to, or 100 people who work for you. It's still power. So this applies to all of us. And when we're in a position of power, we become a little bit different. You know, we're different people. And this, I'm not talking about the potential for some influence. I'm talking about power. If I want it to be so, it will be so. That's power. Now, if you are applying your power, there's the difficulty to avoid of being overblown in that, to claim more than you can actually back up, in which case you become eventually impotent. If you overstress the amount of power you claim, you'll lose. You won't get what you've chosen to get, and you'll be seen, therefore, as a failure, not only by other people, but you'll see yourself as a person who fails, and that will diminish your power. So it's not appropriate to overstate your power, but equally, and this I think is the major point, equally it is neither is it appropriate for you to understate your power. People who actually do that are understatements of themselves. They don't claim their full potential in life. They waste the opportunity of this incarnation, therefore. That's to be avoided. That's not okay. So we have to find that balance where we're not underclaiming and we're not overclaiming the power that we have. Now, this particular person is an alpha. They're a leader. They take positions of command. They find a way to do that by creating a following. I lead, you follow. That's the formula. If you don't want to do that, then off you go. Someone else will be more interesting for you. It's that kind of naked, unreserved, I claim the power. Now, this is an important point also. Power cannot be given. Power can only ever be taken. So don't wait for someone in authority to say, we want to raise you in importance and give you a higher position. That's not power. That's just taking your enslavement up a notch. Power is when you actually say, right, I'm ready for this, I'm having it. And if you can't say that, then you don't have the power. If you can say that, then you do have the power. Power depends upon a claim. So if you feel yourself to be worthy of greater responsibility, greater authority, greater expression of your power, because you have the wisdom not to understate, not to underclaim, in other words, and not to bully either, not to overblow your power. Overblown power is one of the major problems in the world today. So, this claim is an important moment in your life. It's not half-hearted. It has to be complete. It has to be with the expectation of success. It has to be putting at risk resources that you have and reputation that you have. You have to risk everything, really, to claim your optimal power. And you can't claim the power that you have without putting something at risk. So to guard against this risk going wrong, we have to, first of all, develop self-discipline. We cannot hope to discipline others and therefore claim power unless we know how to discipline ourselves. So the inner authority that we have because of self-discipline extends out into the world as expressed authority. That's the formula. Therefore, we're starting to look at somebody who not only can command power in the material world, and eventually they do have material acquisitions typically as symbols, emblems of that power. But they also have an inner spiritual authority which comes from self-control. And unless we can actually control our base instincts, our appetites, our habits, then all of this is just limited, severely limited. If you're subject to a habit, then you're enslaved. That's not power. If you can't control your desire nature, you're enslaved, because the object of your desire can actually insist on your behavior being a certain way, whether that's a member of the opposite sex or a drug or a position of importance or whatever. If you need any of those things, you need them, then you're not in control. You have no authority. If you want them, then your desire nature is a part of the empowering process. That's not a problem. It's when you need it that it's the problem. So, in a sense, we have first to learn to give things up. All of it. All of the things that give us comfort and joy. Learn how to give it up. This is why spiritual retreat is so austere. We don't eat much. We don't sleep much. We don't have any company. We can't talk. We've got no comforts whatever, in order just to demonstrate that such comforts in life as tea and coffee and chocolate and let alone sex and positions of importance and conversation, we can give them up. This is a spiritual retreat. If it's not austere, then it doesn't work on the deepest level. So we do this to demonstrate that we're in control of ourselves. We have developed self-discipline. And when this occurs, you move into a different way of being. The sense of the essence of who you are is much more readily seen when it's not compromised by enacting our needs. And when we have developed that essential sense of inner authority, then we tend to claim our outer authority in a smooth and elegant and sensitive way. We're sensitive to the needs of another, and to the purposes of a group, and to the times that we're in, and what can work and what won't work. We become sensitive to all of that, because this inner authority that comes on retreat, for example, and in many other ways, gives us a detachment from life. If actually you're not detached, then what you're actually motivated by is the fulfillment of your next desire, your next need, actually. If you're detached from all of that neediness, then you just see what is. You take opportunities to fulfill your desires, but you don't need to make them. Because if you need something, that's what you do next, and that's what you see. You look for evidence of fulfilling your needs, instead of an objective sense of what's going on. So, claim your authority by winning internal authority through self-discipline.